Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Besko Halilovic, author of the book My Experience of Migration to Australia, How I Bought My Way into Oz. I migrated to Australia in 2006 on a student visa, and in 2009 I applied for a permanent residency, which I've got, and later on I've got citizenship. I'm living here now for 13 years, and I love Australia. So I've written my book to share the experience of this whole process of migration from the point of when I just started thinking about Australia to the point of getting the permanent residency and all of this basically the way of thinking, I could say, the way of thinking that I had to go through, and all the even practical things of like even IELTS tests and all of these different things that I had to do to get the visa. And I've done it all on my own. I've actually applied personally applied for both student and a permanent residency visa. And if there is one message that I got as response to my writing the book through the contact forms and Facebook is that a lot of people ask me, just I want to migrate to Australia. Can you help me? And unfortunately, I can't. I'm not a migration agent, and I can't offer help with migration. But what I can do is I can encourage you to start your own research. And that was the whole purpose of the book, to actually show you what I've gone through and show you what you can do from the comfort of your home to get you a step closer and even make a decision. If you decide you can later take the migration agent, you will have enough information to do this comfortably, to know, okay, this is the best thing for me if I decide to go that way, or I'll just do it on my own. And you can do it all. Even today, you can still do it on your own. It's not that difficult. And in this video, I'm gonna practically show you where I've started, and also in the same time you will see that what I've done is very relevant. It's not the fact that I've moved in 10 years ago didn't change much. So I'll now turn into the screen mode, start recording my screen on the computer, and I'll practically show you where to start your research and what I've done and what you can do to actually find out more things about migration and Australia in general. Right, let's get into it. Yeah, I'm just typed in migration Australia, and as you can see, I've got some migration agents there around me, and the two websites that are popping up on as the main ones. I believe you just have to look at government websites, gov.au, gov.au. See, that's the main one, is Immigration Home Affairs, gov.au. That's the main website. You will find all the details that you need about migration here. And this one is australia.gov.au, just general information and services for immigration and visas. You can find a lot of details there. I'll intentionally go into this one. You will see that after a few minutes I will be onto Immigration Home Affairs, and there's a lot of good information on this website. You can look about different things in Australia in general. There was things about settling in Australia. It was interesting for me. I read the Life in Australia. I've read the whole booklet about family members. How can they support me? I've read about it, and I took advantage. I got extra points because I knew about it. But what's interesting is, as soon as you start reading about it, in the first paragraph, you see work visas mentioned. That's how Australia fills up with people. They want skilled people who will build Australia, who will help Australia grow stronger. And of course, they want also successful business people from overseas who will bring money and the skill and experience into building Australia again. So they would be getting nominations. So if they can prove that they've done that, but I'll just assume that you're just like same like me, a general skilled migrant. So you would be looking into work visas. And here is the difference between when I applied 10 years ago and looked into it over now 13 years ago in 2006 when I was looking for a visa. I needed to make sure before I applied for a student visa that I would get the permanent residency visa. So I researched it then, and there was no skill select back then. Even when I applied in 2009, there was no skill select. This is the only, I believe, the only major change that is mentioned, worth mentioning, and that changed everything. Because before you would just look at, I can satisfy the points and I will apply for visa. Now government started being very selective, and they are controlling who's coming into skill select. What was happening before would be that, for example, there would be too many accountants because there was a global crisis, and there would be still people coming in on a visa as accountants, getting into Australia, creating more people who are basically on the dole, as they call it in Australia, on a social support. Because if you can't find a job, then you claim from the government, you say, I need support because I can't earn. So then the government takes money from taxpayers and gives it to people who can't find jobs, which is not in the interest of the government. And then somebody was smart enough to invent Skill Select. And that came shortly after the financial crisis, as I remember. And now they are basically, always looking at the statistical points of view. From the statistical point of view, they're monitoring the marketplace and saying, we need this many carpenters, this many accountants, this many this, blah, 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 whatever, and choosing, like to the point, choosing who they want in, who is the best one from that field that they can pick from that list, which they get when you submit the expression of interest through Skill Select. So that's the major difference, the main difference that happened. Visas are, in my belief, still the same. They might have changed a couple of visas and call them different now, but you still have skilled independent visa, and most of the other visas were there when I was applying 10 years ago. So that didn't change much, maybe just received cosmetical changes, but this is the major change, because now you can't apply without that. So I'm gonna click into that. And then we're gonna look into there's two things that pop up straight away: the skills assessment and skill occupation list. That's how to be able to show your expression of interest, you must have occupation on the skill. That's where your research starts, basically here. You need to have a skill on your skilled occupation list, and you must be positively assessed. So let's click into that. As soon as you get inside, you have a list of visas there that are available for you through that skilled occupation list. See, I believe this is the main one. And then if you can't get enough points through this one and can't apply for that one, then you look into skilled nominated or regional sponsored or employer nomination scheme. There's different ways that you can go. Then you look into other visas. They like this one is, if you can satisfy this one, you are number one. That's the easiest way for you to get in. And then if you can't get points through that, then you can look into, family members nominating you, employer nominating you, you go live for 2.5 years in a regional city. I was actually considering that, but my uncle could nominate me. And there was something that was called skilled independent sponsored visa. I can't remember, 10 years ago. It is basically the same like the skilled nominated visa, just different name. Or let's say it was same as skilled independent visa with 10 extra points, because my uncle guaranteed that for 2 years, if anything happens to me that I can't work or can't find a job, he would give me a bed and food and provide for me for 2 years instead of government. So the government doesn't get me as a burden. And I got 10 extra points for that, and I was satisfying the points. So that's something to consider. And now we're going to look into occupation list. When I was ship's officer before I came here. In Croatia, I used to work on tankers, and look at this. Even today, you can just apply for 2 visas as ship's officer. And just to give you the idea, Shipwright, which is a ship's builder, somebody who's building ships, he has so many different visas. Look at this. So Australia basically needs more people who are able to use their hands and build something, do something with your hands: electricians, carpenters, builders, mechanics, whatever, different skill trades. That's Trade Assessing Authority. Look at this. It's Trades Recognition Australia. That basically trades means anybody who is skilled worker who can build or fix something, and they are in demand. And they actually earn many times. They actually earn more money than, for example, accountants. If you are an electrician and you can employ 10 electricians, you will earn as much money as an accountant employing 10 accountants. It's probably you might actually be earning more. Depends, of course, how well you are. And you can start as a simple electrician, and later on, if you have enough contacts, you just start employing other people working for you while you are expanding your network. It's just ordinary business thing. So what happens here is you find what's your skill on the occupation list, then you find what is your assessing authority on the right hand side, then you can call them and find out firsthand what you need to have to be recognized. They might say you need 3 years of experience and diploma from some specific university in your country, and or you can just tell them I have diploma from this school in my country and I have these 3 years of plumbing experience, and can I be recognized as a plumber? And they will check in their system, and they might actually tell you on the spot, because it's not complicated. They on the computer they can find everything, and they will tell you yeah, maybe if you had degree from that school you would, but not from this school. And then you can consider, can I actually go and apply for a recognition of my learning in that other university and do maybe a couple of subjects to supplement that and get diploma from that other school that would be recognized. It's just one of those things, just being practical. Uh, or if you need experience, just stay. And they tell you need two more years of experience. Just stay where get the job where you need to get the job and stay there for 2 or 3 years and then apply. Like 3 years is nothing. You blink your eye and it's 3 years past and you can do it. So I'll now click into skilled independent visa. There's a few things to show you there that I've just discovered, and I love it how they've done it. As you can see, you must have an occupational relevant skill occupation list, have a suitable assessment. I already mentioned that. Be invited, that means you have to do that expression of interest and then be invited, and you have to satisfy the points test. See over here, there's about this visa eligibility step by step. Each one of these have all of these interesting things. You see, what can you do with this visa? How long can you stay? All the details are there. See, visas, processing times, everything that you need to know about it is there for you. And eligibility, see, step by step, you can either look at this there, it shows you all the details about what you need to do step by step. And they have an overview over here. But the detailed one is this step by step. It's the same thing. Before you apply, see, gather your documents, apply for the visa. After you apply, visa outcome. So there's a lot of things. But you see, before you apply, you have to get through that skill select to be able to apply. So it's in more detail than in the overview. And eligibility is particularly important and so well done. I'm really, whoever done this, I have to say that he's done a fantastic job. You have all the things there to do, but to check what you need, and you can just follow these links. And to get, again, you will get into expression of interest, into skill select. Links, they will be interrelated, and then have a suitable skills assessment, be of age. You just read through that. It's basically whatever most of these things that I already mentioned are already there. Unbelievable, just really, really well done. When I was doing it, I think 10 years ago, it wasn't this clear. It was a bit confusing for me. I had to read it a lot of times before I understood what I need to do. And this is the points calculator. This is where you want to go. This is another thing to definitely go through. Because it will give you exactly how many points you will get, and that points calculator would you would just go through. You select, for example, you start with the independent visa, and then you go. It will tell you. See, you can go into the points table too, and it will tell you how many points you will get for each of these questions that are now going to be produced for you, and then you just go and say, I'm this old. Then you can read about English skills, what you need to do to get that done. Then you choose I don't know, I will get this much, I will be competent or whatever. You depends on your what you're doing, how many years of experience you have. Australian skill employment is, for example, people come into Australia and on a working holiday visa, and they work here. And while they are working, they are actually gathering this Australian skilled employment experience, especially if they can get a job in that specific field. That is fantastic, and you can many times get that job if you find somebody who is ready, who needs really badly somebody, and you are ready to work for less than what is what they have to pay Australian. And if you are skilled enough, they will still take you. And you just tell them, I need this employment. I will just work as a, for example, plumber. You don't need to actually be fully skilled as a plumber. If you know how to do plumbing from your country and you come here and say, I'll just be your assistant. I don't need to be a plumber. I'll just come with you and help you. And then you just help put the pipes in and then you get skilled employment. So there's different ways you can do. And then you say, yeah, I don't know, less than 1 year or more than 1 year. This depends on how much experience you have. You can get extra points. Educational qualifications. You just follow the list and get at the end they will tell you this many points, and then you realize, oh, I just needed 5 points more, and then you look at, oh, maybe I will get that 5 points if I do this visa, or if you're missing 10, maybe this visa, skilled work plus regional visa, maybe this one will give me 10 points extra and I might get in. So look in, don't just do one and then you realize, oh, I don't have enough points. Try others and try, think about other ways to get in. And then of course you also have to have English language proficiency. You have to meet the skills requirement that already mentioned, that you have to be healthy, you have to be proper, you can't be a convict unless, of course, if you are the only one who ever applied and they really need you, otherwise you might fail. Of course, if you have, for example, if you came to Australia and you had a fine that you didn't pay when you went away, they will still have you in the database, and they might tell you you still have to pay. Or maybe you went into English, into England. I think it's because we are Commonwealth. When I was reading about it, it says if you are owing money to Commonwealth. So even if you were in England and have a fine, back then I couldn't get the visa, but luckily I didn't have any of these issues. And we have to sign the value statement. Nothing special, just says that you're going to respect Australia. So there you go. I just gave you enough information to get you started, and I hope you're gonna use some of this and get some good information there, and hopefully find a way to get into Australia. And if you find this video useful, please subscribe and hit the bell button if you're interested in getting more information like this. I'm going to try to put some more videos in the future. And wish you all the best, and thank you very much for watching.